What's good, YouTube? It's me, your best video again in another video, and I want to make this video as a follow-up to the extra deck staple one I did. This is just more like, not really staples, but more secondary options that you might want to use for your deck. They're not as popular as the ones in the first video, but they still come up, and they're quite versatile in their effects. First one, Leviator the Sea Dragon, 2 level 3 monsters, so any like deck that you have like level 3s, you can use this. So you can detach a material from a card and then target one level 4 lower monster that's banished and special summon it to your field. So it can be any banished monster. It could be your opponent's banished as well. Really useful, especially in like Phantom Knight decks. Speaking of Phantom Knight's a break sword. This is also 2 monsters, level 3. Once per turn, you can detach a material from this and target one card you control and one card your opponent controls and destroy them. So it's really good. You can destroy itself if you do, and you have Phantom Knights in your graveyard, you can actually resurrect them. But as a generic, if you play a level 3 deck, this is a really good option because it's just like spot removal. So you can destroy something on both sides of the field. A lot of times you can also play things in your deck that get advantage when they're in the graveyard or when they get destroyed. So really cool utility. Next one's Downward Magician. This card is, you don't really overlay it with two level 4 spellcasters. Instead, the other effect is, during your main phase 2, you can XYZ summon this card by using a rank 3 or lower XYZ monster you control as material and transfer all the materials to this card. So, for example, if you have Breaksword or Leviator, what you can do in main phase 2 is actually overlay a Downward Magician on top. And what that actually does is it gives you another material because Downward itself is another monster on top. And then you put on AA Arsenal Zeus. So, if you have 2 level 3s, you put Phantom Knights or Breaksword, that's 2 materials plus Phantom Knights, that's 3. If you put on Downer, that's 4. And then you put Zeus. So you have 4 material Zeus, so you get 2 Sends. That's literally why this card is really, really good. So definitely play this card if you're playing a deck with Zeus that has a lot of rank 3 or lowers that you want to use to make Zeus. Next one is a generic 2 level 4 monster, rank 4, Castell Sky Blaster. This is really popular, like maybe like 7 or 8 years ago when XYZs first came out, because its effect is really good. You detach one material from the card, then target any face-up monster on the field, change it to defense position, so it's like a Book of Moon. And then the other effect that's the good one is you detach 2 materials from this card, then target one other face-up card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. So it's a really good removal for like floodgates or like things you can't get rid of that your opponent has on the board. Next one's also 2 level 4 monsters. And then the only effect that's really relevant is, while this card is in defense position, change all face-up monsters on the field to defense position and negate their effects. So if you're playing against, it doesn't work on links because links can't be changed to the defense mode by game mechanics. But if there are any monsters on the field, for example, you're playing an opponent that doesn't play links, this literally just stalls the entire game if they have no way to negate it. You put this in defense and everything's shifted to defense and they can't attack and their effects are negated. So it's super powerful in that band. And then later on, you can actually attack with it and make Zeus on top if you want to turn off the effect. Next one, Constellar Ptolemy M7. 2 level 6 monsters, good for level 6 decks. What this does is, once per turn, you can detach one material from the card and then target one monster on the field or in graveyard, return to the hand. So you can recycle your hand traps, or you can get rid of cards that are in your opponent's field or graveyard. So it's also removal. Dual utility. Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, this is just like Downward Magician. You can overlay it on top of any rank 5 or 6 monsters. So if you have any like level 6 or level 5 decks, definitely use this one. It does piercing damage, but most importantly, it's another material for Zeus. So again, if you use 2 level 6 monsters to make rank 6, and then you put this on top, that's 4 materials for Zeus. And then Hope Harbinger, it's 2 level 8 monsters. This is generic rank 8. If you play like Blue Eyes, you definitely want this. And what it does, it negates spell effects. So you overlay this and it negates any spell effect. Yeah, just generic way to set up your board and protect it from like things like Dark Hole, etc. Dingirsu, also 2 level 8 monsters, probably a staple for Blue Eyes as well. You can use it 2 level 8s to overlay it. And then the effects is, if it's special summoned, you can activate this effect, send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard. So non-targeting send. So like something that's immune to destruction that still sends. Or you can attach one of your banished machine materials to this card's material. So that's more like for the actual Orcus deck. Tricking of Calamities. I can't believe this is unbanned. This card should super be unbanned. Should be super banned, I should say. It's super unfair. 2 level 9 monsters. Quick effect. You detach a material from this card, so on your opponent's turn, you declare an attribute, and it makes all face-up monsters on the field that attribute for the rest of the turn, and negate all monsters with that attribute. So essentially, it negates the effects of all monsters on your opponent's side of the field for the rest of the turn, which is crazy. It's like a skill drain. You can't turn it off. Even if you Dark Hole it, the effect already goes through, so you can't use monster effects. It's really unfair. If you have a level 9 deck, definitely check that out. Nightmare Cerebus, it's kind of like Nightmare Phoenix. Instead of destroying spell or traps, you discard a card, then target a special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone and destroy it. It's alright, but most decks don't have the space to play it. There are better options, and usually spell and traps are the ones that like kind of slow you down because Floodgate, so that's why Phoenix is more played. And then most decks have like built-in ways to destroy monsters as is, so this card doesn't really come up. But it's still a good option if you're looking for something more of like a budget, or your deck has extra deck space that it might come up. And then the 4 Charmers, so Area, Hida, Wind, and Asa, they're for the different archetypes. All you need to do is have 2 monsters, including a monster with the same attribute. So, for example, Hida, you need a fire monster. And the effect is you can target 1 fire monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field. So, similarly, the other one's special summon water, earth, and wind. So, if your opponent is playing, like, you know, a fire deck like Salamangreat, and you're playing, like, any fire deck in any fire link monster, or any fire monster that you can link into Hida, you can special summon and link climb. So it gives you a free monster. Also, it doesn't negate the effect, so you can actually use your opponent's monster's effect. Or you can use this to make a rank 3, which is really busted. And it helps you climb into like access code and things like that. Also, if they're destroyed, you can add a monster with their attribute from your deck to hand that has 1500 or less defense. So it's super, super useful. Cross Sheep, this one's really good for fusion decks mostly. It has 2 monsters with different names to make it. And then if you special summon a type of monster to the zone it points to, you get one of the effects. Ritual, you draw 2, discard 2, it's not really useful. Synchro, gain attack, doesn't do anything. XYZ, same thing, lose attack, doesn't do anything. But the fusion one's really good. When you summon a fusion monster this, for example, you play Shaddolls, you summon a construct, you get to special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. So you can special summon back a monster and either link climb or use it as a fusion material. And it doesn't negate the effect, so it's super awesome. And it doesn't target either. Yeah, it's really busted. And that's really about it. I know there are a lot of other extra deck monsters, so yeah, if you guys have any good ones, suggestions, leave them in the comment below. But these are more the ones that I've seen like recently in the meta game. So yeah, it's good to familiarize yourself with them, and if you don't have them already, definitely get them.